Good morning, YouTube. Well, the great thing about this project, what I love so far, and thank you everyone for checking it out, is every day something new evolves and it takes a different direction and opens up to a bunch of new things. And today I'm driven to, for the past few weeks, I've been putting a lot of videos out talking about the connections I've been able to make with people, these random connections, and connect to them over dates or someone we lost or a hobby we share or a love of an art that we haven't. I've been putting out how, but today my videos I've been making more like targeted towards one of those connections that I made, and because I'm interested to see where it continues to grow and go, I guess, what comes out of it. So I thought I would start an individual storyline for each of these individual connections, if that makes sense. Um, this one I wanted to set up because it's very special to me. It's the first one that I made. It's the first one that kind of started this whole journey. And again, if this is the first video you're seeing, that idea was a few weeks ago that I would simply start making videos, no rhyme or reason to them, just kind of whatever, it's just in the moment as I was, whatever idea, I would just let it kind of go and twist, and I'd make a video and I'd put it out across one form or one platform or another online, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth. And anyone that was drawn to it and interacted with those posts, even by simply liking them, then I would figure out a connection that possibly drew them to it, and then develop it. That's the idea, and that's been happening more than I ever possibly imagined. I've made more. Even one of these connections, if I had made, would have been a huge success. A huge win. But to make so many in such a short period of time is what's been truly amazing. Sorry, I gotta put this down, or I forget I'm talking to you. But so this one is special to me because it starts with my daughter, who I made. I think is who launched all of this for me, and it started with her telling me she was pregnant with her first child. She was going to be expecting, which was months ago now, because I'm happy to say I have a healthy baby boy as my first grandchild, Rowan, who I love dearly. He's going to be a special little boy, I can tell. You can just see it in him. He's got some special parents. Obviously, I'm biased, but But that's where it all started, my connection, and made me. Now, you gotta understand, my daughter and I had become very, not very, not withdrawn, but like it's very difficult for us to have a relationship. I live on one coast, she lives on the other, basically, and she has lived with her. My oldest daughter is from a previous marriage, and she's lived with her mother since she was about 12 years old, primarily, all through high school, college years, all of that. So we haven't, the past 10 years or so, it's been very difficult for us to have a real day-to-day life, together. We've made the best out of the times that we've had together, because we've always connected on a very deep level when we had time to do it. But connections are one of those things that you've got to develop and stay actively engaged with, or that's how connections get lost. And a lot of this project is about learning how to reform connections as well as make new ones. How you can use laws of attraction in order to do that. And it wasn't originally meant to be a project or anything like that. It was more, I just started noticing being able to connect when my daughter. If you watch any of my videos, you're gonna have to get used to chickens. They're obsessed with me right now, and they just follow me around. And I got a thing with birds, I think. But anyway, so it didn't start off as anything other than I just wanted to desperately reconnect with her. and start to develop a real relationship again that we haven't had since she was very young. Uh, you know, 12 years old is very young for a kid, and just right before you've got to face um, quite a bit of stuff in life. That next 10 years, 12 to 22, is a tough road, man. It's a tough road. So um, I needed to redo that, and I'm happy to say that through this, um, I've made some amazing new reconnections with my daughter. I understand her now on a level that I never have. Um, I understand so much more when it comes to her. So I hope that anyone that follows along with my daughter's story, Lyric's story, because she's the genesis of everything for me. Uh, I became a father at 19, almost 20, right before I turned 20 years old. Uh, so she has managed to change my life and flip it on its head, literally 3 times. I mean, and when I mean like flip it on its head, turn it completely 180 degrees, like with a switch, by either something she's done or uh, our relationship. The first time being just by simply being born, flipped my world on its head, changed my path forever in a million ways. Uh, so that's a special relationship with me, and uh, it wasn't hard to figure out why it was that one that was able to finally get through to me in a way that was made me willing and capable of opening up and considering all the possibilities out there. Because when you're um, desperate to make a connection with your child, you'll consider anything. You're open to anything. If you're really trying to connect with them, and so that they know that they are on their own journey, and um, but you can let them know that they're not alone, that they truly have someone out there that's connected to them, that understands exactly what they're going through and dealing with and facing, and how difficult and hard and everything, you know. But in order for them to feel like you're there, helping them absorb all of that and take on all of that, there has to be a true connection, a sincere connection, and that's very difficult to do. Very, almost impossible. And if you're closed-minded to any possible ways of doing that, you might as well just quit now, because until you're willing to knock down any wall, go through any door, um, sacrifice anything to make that connection, you're never going to make it. That's the point of, that's what it takes when you lose a connection. For anyone out there, if you were ever truly connected with a child, a loved one, this here or not, doesn't matter. Uh, your wife, your husband, your mother, a father, a family member, an old friend, anyone that you were once lock and step with, and you lose that for whatever reason, not just your fault, theirs too, and you lose it, reconnecting it, that's it's the reason why a lot of people just move on, because it's so much easier to form a new one than to reconnect an old one. It's not even, you shouldn't even, there should be different terms for it, different words to describe it, because it's not the same thing you're attempting to do. If you try to reconnect an old relationship in the same way you would in forming a new one, it's never going to happen. And if you are not open, like I said, to going through any door, it's never going to happen. So when she reached a point in her life where she desperately needed someone to connect to her life, because of just things she was dealing with, and she was so alone that, as her father, I could feel that. I could feel it. I could feel her loneliness and the pain of it. And I'm just summing it up, but I could feel it all. So I knew that in order to to connect with her in a way and let her know. And I think she it's going to be quite a bit of journey for her to really realize how connected some of us are to her, especially like me and other people in her life, because she's still coming to her own, you know. But I've noticed a lot of changes since I've made some changes myself and came around to her. Things we're talking about, how we're talking, how we're interacting. It's been amazing. I talked about um, how in one of my other videos that one of the best things come out of this so far, just in the last few days, is the fact that she has so much in common with a very now close friend of mine, and they live much closer together, and they're bonded over a really deep personal subject that they can both connect with and on, and the fact that my reconnecting with her is what allowed her to even be open to me introducing her to a friend. You don't understand. Like that she couldn't have thought that was seemed more bizarre. You know, the fact that I could lead her to a person, a friend, and it being a friend of mine. You know, that she could somehow now connect with and on level on things that are going on in her life now. You know, is it's a very odd connection from the out, you know, from looking at it on paper to put together, you know. But I can tell from talking to both of them because a week ago they didn't know each other even was alive. That's how significant this was. They didn't even know each other existed. My daughter didn't know this. I had an old childhood friend, and my childhood friend didn't know I had a daughter. Um, I hadn't spoken to my childhood friend since I was a child, so there was no way she could have known other than she saw a picture or two going around, but they had never interacted. Our families never interacted, nothing, you know. And not only uh, and they connected when they were drawn to each other for whatever reason, in a bunch of things they were connected with, to include uh, my daughter's primary years where she grew up, because she lived with me before moving into her mother to live with her mother full time. She lived with me full time. So when she started school, kindergarten, first grade, all the way up to sixth grade, she was living with me, and we lived in this small town on the other side of the country from where I'm at now. It just happens to be the same area that my friend now lives in, that I went to school with in childhood, in a completely other state. She ended up moving to this small little town that I had been there for a while I was military days. She stayed there. I moved on, and then when my daughter decided to settle down, because her mother's from the state right next door, so when she went back to live with her mother, so she only moved about 4 hours away from where my friend moved, which we were used to live, and I could sit here and tell you connections they have. It's why they're drawn together isn't difficult for me to see at all. The beauty of it is the fact that they were, you know, and part of connecting with my daughter and understanding what's going on in her life is also means to understand what her needs are too, you know. And I knew that there's a lot of the things she needs right now I can't give her. She, like, even if I had the information to give her, it's important who it comes from too, you know. There has to be a deeper connection to deal with some things. So the fact that all of this has facilitated that is priceless, priceless, because it makes my daughter so much more open to listening to me on other things we might connect on, which we have since we talk about. Just this morning, for instance. Um, so yesterday I talked about one of the things. I was taking my kids to school. My two younger kids that are going to both be in high school next year. It's the last day of school yesterday. It's graduation day for eighth grade. It's a big fun day, you know. And I took the kids to school for my wife. And when my wife's not in the car, my thing with my kids is we turn on the music and we just blast it as loud as we can. My wife doesn't like it loud, you know. So we blast it though when it's just me and the kids. And but yesterday my son was with us, and he has his unique taste in music, and him and my daughter don't share the same taste, put it that way. So it can become an argument over whose music gets played, if you know what I mean. And that's what was going on. So I told him before they even played the first song, like, look, we can do this, but you got to play something that you know your sister will be okay with and that I'm cool with, and because it's a 5 minute drive, man. You got one song, pick one song that we can all enjoy as a fun one. I'll trust you. And he said, okay. He plugs in this little thing to my phone or to my van, and he plays Ziggy Marley, in Hawaii, Beach in Hawaii, the song, which is amazing that he played. Because one, and I had to call my daughter this morning to talk to her about it, or text her anyway. This song was so big in my household when my kids were toddlers. My oldest daughter's about 8 years older than her brother and sister, so she was kind of like the built-in babysitter. Big, like she looked at them as dolls, when they were little. So they did everything she wanted back then. But anyway, our thing together was when it was just the four of us, because I can't sing in front of my wife. I'm a horrible singer about it. When your kids are little, like they don't care, they just sing, man, they sing. So we would, but long story short, I took them to our vacation spot every year is this little tiny beach in California, Northern California on the coast, or obviously on the coast, but north of San Francisco, about 40 miles, real private. No one knows it exists, right? Like I've literally been on the beach at 9 o'clock in the morning on a summer day, beautiful out, not a cloud in the sky, and I'm walking on the beach with my kids and dog, and there's not another human being in sight, and I'm 40 miles north of San Francisco. That's how special this place was. And I took my kids there every summer when my daughter would come visit from her mother's in the summer. Well, that's where we go spend the vacation, most of it. So anyway, when my son was 5, maybe 6, we're walking along this little beach, and it's on the Pacific Ocean, and stuff. So my son, he thinks that we're on a beach in Hawaii, and he says that. And he's bragging about being on a beach in Hawaii. And my daughter looks at me, and in an exact moment, we just bust out laughing and start singing Ziggy Marley's Beach in Hawaii, top of our lungs. And we all jump in, we all sing it. And that was the memory of this song. I mean, it's a little deeper. Like I used to sing my son to sleep to it, and so on and so forth. My son had no memory of any of this. No, I don't even think my daughter remembers the beach memory. That was more me. But she was funny though, because she said she couldn't remember ever hearing the song. She knew the words to it since she started playing. I was like, yeah, we used to sing this thing a million times when it came. And it's always because I get songs stuck in my head, and so they just get forced to listen to the same thing over and over. But my son discovered this song recently, just randomly on his own. Didn't even know he was listening, had ever even heard of it. It's not, like I said, we didn't give him suggestions, just told him to pick something we thought we'd be cool with. But, and I'm going to have to start a whole series on my other kids, because we've got just as many cool things going on with them. This is supposed to be primarily about lyrics, and it is, but it's also, I guess, to set up the reconnection that I'm having as a result of all this with all 3 of my kids. Because even with my channel, my son is going to help me start doing some things on my channel, because you guys probably realize I don't know what I'm doing, and he's going to figure out how to label them and tag them and set them up, and maybe try to put them in some kind of order or something, for me. And then my daughter, who is a beautiful artist, like she just has she has creativity. It comes out in a gazillion ways. So she loves art of any kind, but one of her go-to, almost like her yoga or meditation, is flow art. And I don't want to mess this up. I don't know a lot about it yet. I'm looking forward to learning more, and that's what I was about to tell you. I think it's called flow art, and in her particular thing, she loves hula hoops. Now, she will stand in the backyard and hula hoop for hours practicing on stuff, and to everyone else, it just looks, I'm sure, weird or crazy or doesn't make a lot of sense. When I watch her videos, I see her connected to that art of flowing, and she is just, I know my child, so I I see the connection and the flow, and she's on another planet. Like she is locked in. She is locked in, and so what everybody else sees is just some girl hula hooping. Or no, man, no, it's like dancing. If you've ever like you can't have really dance with a partner. like a wife of a long time. You need to be still in that early space of a relationship where you're like that deep infatuation. You don't know each other yet, but you're just turned on physically. You're saying chemistry is right. Like, you know, like when you're feeling somebody. When think about the difference between you dance with someone that you're just feeling like a complete stranger. You go out like back in the day, if that was, and you went out and you met a stranger and you guys just instant. Now you never talked. You only came in. You know, you don't know nothing really other than a few small words, but you're on the floor and your chemistry is just bam, bam, bam. Well, there's a reason why. You know, there's a reason why because you don't know each other physically yet, so you don't have any blocks in your mind. You don't have any things to get over. So you're just feeling that person. You know, you're just feeling their energy and their chemistry and their, you know, that's why what you're feeling and what you describe is, man, we just hit it off. That what you're describing or feeling or remembering, that's what connection is. That's what, you know, that's what we're talking about here. So it's the same thing when you watch her in these videos. Same thing going on. Same thing. And so I asked her yesterday. I was like, "Hey, you think you'd be willing to make a few like your hula videos, put on my channel, part of our story and everything?" And she said, "Awesome, that she would do it for me. Just let her know what I wanted, and she'd make it right up." And she's making these things for years, so she's amazing at them. Amazing, like she just makes it for herself. So I'm looking very forward. I don't know. I'm hoping after she'll see this video and then get an idea of what I'm hoping, wanting from her, wanting her to do, and that's simply the idea is to structure this like each connection uh, or has its own storyline, you know, and she's already involved in a bunch of those different storylines. I even invited her to both of the groups that I'm joined. They're like the spiritual belly one. She's a member now, which is cool. Her and I never shared no groups before. But anyway, I'm hoping she'll see it and she'll get that like as part of her story. Like I want to be able to attach her videos to underneath, you know, me talking about the connection I've made, and so that people can discover her on her own because uh, she's infectious and she's meant to. Her art is going to touch the right people in the right way. I can just feel that when I watch it. It's so. She has found a way to deeply connect to something or to what we're all wanting to be deeply connected to all the time. You know, that's the struggle is figuring out how to be connected. Uh, for me, it's just some of the time, you know, or at all, ever, you know. But and then you grow that so that. But we all have these people find these ways to have a connection at least. All right, when they need one desperately, they can go do something and it'll, you know, reconnect them with it and then lay it down and go back and face it. And that's what hula hooping is for her. I can see that when she does it, how she just it's her moment to step away from all of her and reconnect with just the vibrations of life, man. It's beautiful. And more people should see it. So, anyway, I could run with my kids forever. I just wanted to set that up. Obviously, this is going to be a special one, personal one for me. And Lyric, if you do see this, love you, sweetheart. Thank you for all your support. You've been my biggest supporter from day one. I love you. Miss you, baby. Bye.